And there is no facility whatsoever provided in the masajid for the youth. And if Allah gives tawfiq to some Muslim to provide a facility, the committees will come down on them. Because he's not after providing facilities, he's after power. How are these people going to answer on the Day of Judgment? وَمَنْ أَظْلَمُ مِمَّنْ مَنَعَ مَسَاجِدَ اللَّهِ أَنْ يُذْكَرَ فِيهَا اسْمُهُ. These people are preventing people to come inside the masjid and remember the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. How they're going to answer for this on the Day of Judgment? Allah knows best. This is the first cause for a bad ending. The second, shurbul khamr, consuming wine. Muslims are now selling wine. Muslims are now taking wine, selling drugs, and taking drugs. At one time when we were children, you would find one or two who drank wine. And even those, they would make sure that nobody saw them entering the pub. And today, it's a common thing. The youth, rampant. There's nothing wrong with going to raves, discoing, taking alcohol. It is not regarded as a sin anymore. وَأُقُوقُ الْوَالِدَيْنِ. And the third, disobeying the parents. 1 in 1,000 out of the Muslim youth may be saved from this sin. Today, swearing to parents, reviling them, disrespect, to the extent some Muslims have gone to the extent of beating them. Listen very carefully. After the rights of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, nobody has more rights than your parents. And the consequence of disobeying and disrespecting parents is unbearable. The great Hafiz al-Munzari, in his great work Targhib wa Tarhib, relates, has recorded a hadith on the authority of Awan ibn Hawshab. Awan ibn Hawshab says that I once went to a tribe which had a tomb. After Asr, tomb, a grave. This grave opened. A man came out of this grave. His head was the head of a donkey. He had the head of a donkey. He came out outside of his grave. He made a noise like a donkey 3 times. He hee-hawed 3 times. After hee-hawing 3 times, he went back inside the grave and the grave closed. Awan ibn Hawshab says, this scared me. Who is this man and why is he being punished in this way? I asked the locals. And the locals informed me that he was a drunkard. He would drink. Too much, he would fall unconscious. And then when he would come round, now listen very carefully to this, because this is exactly what the Muslim youth are doing today. We commit sin. Mother doesn't give freedom, father doesn't give freedom, not mother. The old woman doesn't give freedom, and the old man doesn't give freedom. And father wants us to do good. And when we commit sin, when we do wrong, father gives us nasihah. He tells us what is good, and he tells us what is wrong. Now when his mother would tell him, oh son, fear Allah, it is haram to drink wine, he would turn around and say to his mother, you speak like a donkey. Alright, we might not go to the extent of saying this, but we say, Mom, stop nagging. I've heard it all before. Exactly the same type of reply. Listen very carefully. He died that very day after Asr. Awan ibn Hawshab says it's because the people said because of this. Every day his grave opens and he hee-haws like a donkey 3 times and then his grave closes. The 4th reason, وَإِذَاءُ الْمُسْلِمِينَ, giving trouble to the believers. This is no longer regarded as sin. نسأل الله السلامة والستر في الدنيا والآخرة. So when one who has lived a life of sin, when he's in his last throes, he's on the verge of leaving this world and going to the akhirah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says to the angel of death, انطلق إلى عدوه فأتني به فإني قد بسطت له في رزقه وسربلته بنعمتي فأبى إلا معصيتي. Go and bring my enemy. Bring him to me. I gave him his provisions in abundance. I gave him all his ni'mas. I gave him this. I gave him that. I bestowed upon him my blessings, and yet he refused to believe. He refused to believe in me. He refused to bow down. He had time to commit sin, time for the boys, time to rave, time to cruise. He had no time for me. And yet I did all this for him. Bring him to me today. لِأَنْتَقِمْ مِنْهُ الْيَوْمِ. I, the Almighty, will take my revenge today, and I will make him pay the price of sin. The hadith states, the hadith of Tamim Dari, فَيَنْطَلِكُ إِلَيْهِ مَلَكَ الْمَوْتِ فِي أَقْرَهِ صُورَةٍ رَهَا أَحَدٌ مِّنَ النَّاسِ قَطُّ. That the angel of death goes to this dying man in the most awful of forms which anybody has ever seen. لَهُ إِثْنَةَ عَشَرَةَ عَيْنًا. It has 12 eyes. مَعَهُ سَفُودٌ مِّن نَارٍ كَثِيرُ الشَّوْكِ. It brings with it, the angel of death brings with him a forked iron rod made out of fire. وَمَعَهُ 500 مِنَ الْمَلَائِكَةِ. 500 angels black of face. And these angels do not bring the sweet smelling bouquet of flowers as they did with the believer. مَعَهُمْ نُحَاسٌ وَجَمَرٌ مِّن جَمَرِ جَهَنَّمْ وَمَعَهُمْ سِيَاتٌ مِّن نَارٍ. They bring with them copper, embers of the fire of hell, and they bring whips made out of fire. This is how the angel of death and his army come to this dying person. Once Sayyidina Ibrahim radiallahu ta'ala an, the hadith reported by Ibn Abbas radiallahu ta'ala anhuma, asked the angel of death to show me the form that you assume at the time of taking out the good soul and at the time of taking out the bad soul. He first asked, أَرِنِي كَيْفَ تَقْبِضُ رُوحَ الْمُؤْمِنِ. Show me the form that you assume at the time of taking out a good soul. The angel of death told Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salam, إِصْرِفْ وَجْحَكَ عَنِّي. Turn your face away. The angel of death changed his form. When Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam looked at the angel of death, he saw a very handsome young man, beautiful of face. His face has nur, white clothes, and with a beautiful smell.